You do.
How you do?
Mr. Bartender, please. She could do for me. Give me 4 more shots for me. And my ladies, try to be formalities.
4 more shots, please. I love that song. Okay, who has not been watching that show?
This is such a great song. I love the beat to it.
So for those of you who are going, what the heck are they doing? We haven't seen them that long and they're not making any sense. While we were away, we discovered this fabulous show called 4 More Shots, Please. It's on, is it Prime or Netflix? I can't remember. One of them. It's an Indian Sex in the City, basically, is what I would consider it. And they've got a great theme song, and it's Women's Day, and they're real powerful, these 4 girls. Love it. Check it out. 4 More Shots, please, in case anyone is wondering what the heck we're doing. So,
but I love it because it's just so upbeat. It's so energetic. Like, I put it on, I just want to move, and I was addicted to the show. So they are coming out with the season 3, so I'm very excited. They're filming it now. If anybody hasn't seen it, you just feel very, I just like it. It was perfect song because, again, those ladies are empowered. They're owning it. They're not like, they're the embodiment of exactly what today is, which is choose to challenge.
Yeah, and it's International Women's Day, so we are back on this auspicious day. We've been gone a while. We expected to be back actually about a month ago, but as we said in our post, life gets in the way.
Sometimes life does.
So I guess Stacey, just share what happened with you and why we kind of delayed things a little bit.
So sometimes life gets in the way. So I don't know if you guys remember, I think we were on, once in January, but I actually had to go to Nova Scotia for a couple of months. So I was actually not here, not in Ontario. I had a small family emergency. Everything's fine. But I had to be there just juggling all kinds of stuff. And
under quarantine.
But it's interesting because I had to do quarantine on both ends. So I had to do quarantine when I got there. So I would literally have this amazing friend who moved out of her house for me for 2 weeks, and she moved into with her mom. So her mom was very happy to have her there. So I lived it was kind of interesting. I lived in somebody else's house for 2 weeks, and it's so different. Like, you get to know people differently when you're living in their house. And I've known her since I've literally been 4 years old. So there's no secrets. I know everything about her. I know how she lives. So it was perfect. But it's kind of like you go into somebody else's kitchen and it's like, wonder what I'll make.
Exactly.
But I learned the whole ordering groceries online, how to get things online, because I couldn't leave the house. Like in Nova Scotia, it is law that I had to quarantine, and I had to check in every day with the Nova Scotia government to say where I was quarantining. I'm sure they had my IP address. I'm sure they're tracking my phone.
Absolutely.
Then I moved in with my parents, and it's great. I mean, it was amazing to spend time there, but there was a lot of juggling. So one thing that I realized, number one, thank goodness I am an entrepreneur that can live a locationless lifestyle. So my computer, and I went. And I also didn't bring a lot of clothes with me because it was an emergency as to why I went there. So it was interesting. So I got there and I'm like, I literally had tank tops, hoodies, and a pair of jeans and like sweatpants. And I was like, okay, well, here, once I get out of quarantine, I can go shopping, which was lovely. But it was interesting with a locationless lifestyle. Great. You have your computer and everyone goes, you can work anywhere.
Yeah.
I was working in my friend's house. I was working in my parents' spare room. I was working in the hospital, cafeteria. But the problem is you have to know yourself. So yes, life gets in the way and you can work everywhere, but can you work everywhere?
Right.
That was one thing that I learned about myself. So I had to kind of super juggle my time. So it wasn't just, okay, here's my block of, 8 hours of my day. I had to go, okay, well, I'm in the hospital cafeteria for 2 hours. Well, can I work on my website? Can I upload a course? Can I do coaching calls? No, I can't do that from a hospital cafeteria, but I could do emails. I could do, graphics. I could do, smaller things that I knew I could do with interruption. because there's lots of people around. There was like things coming and going, noises here, noises there. So I really learned more about how I work and what I need to do certain things, because it wasn't just as simple as I have my computer and I can go. Now, you and I did have a conversation one time when I was in the cafeteria of the hospital.
Well, sometimes you have to get done what you have to get done, right?
So there was no choice. It needed to have that conversation. So, I was sitting there on my phone, whispering, okay, yep, I gotcha. But nobody could hear her because I had my headphones on and it was all good. But yeah, sometimes things just need to move forward. So things move forward on the back end. But you guys didn't see that.
No, we did. We actually did a lot of work in the a lot. You guys are going to be so excited to see everything that's transpiring. You'll know shortly everything that's going on. We were working with our people that were going through GIA and really excited about some of the programs they launched and the speaker reels that they're getting together. So there was a lot going on. It also, the cool thing that happened is we had an opportunity to really sit down and do some strategy, because we couldn't jump on a live anytime we wanted, right? And we couldn't do a podcast. So it was great because we kind of dialed it back a bit and said, what does everyone want from us? And how can we make it better for everyone? And how can we help people, move forward and engage and build a bigger community? So it was really, really exciting to be able to do that. But I mean, before that happened, I think what I'd like to say to everyone is we're in different situations. Stacey and I, we're good at dealing with things that get thrown in our way because it's happened before. So, and so the difference is we don't get crazy about it. We just take a deep breath and go, okay, what are we going to do to refocus? And what can we best spend our time doing at this moment, right? So rather than say, oh my God, we're supposed to go live, it was like, no big deal. We'll just create some other cool stuff for everyone instead, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think it's interesting, though, when people say, oh, we haven't seen you for a while, but that doesn't necessarily mean we weren't doing everything, behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
The people who were going through GIA, they were able to finish and actually got some new bonuses along the way that were all created while we were sort of offline.
Yeah, because we were standing still. Yeah. It's true.
We went through that. So all of the entire program, plus all the bonuses, plus all the, amazing directories that we're going to be having, and ability for people who finished to be able to promote them and go forward. It was great. We finished, we had a webinar that we did and we finished that. So, I mean, there was so much that we accomplished over the past couple of months, but it's interesting because people are like, oh, we haven't seen you guys for a while.
I actually got a really funny text that I shared with Stacey. And if you're watching, you know who you are. They sent me a text and said, did you kill Stacey? They were like, I'm like, what? They're like, where'd you hide the body? They thought we broke up or something. And it was very funny, actually, to me, because what we'd gone from being on all the time, you guys are used to seeing us, to being sort of, radio silent and consciously. So we both said, it's okay. This is a time to regroup. So we're not going to try to force it and get on as any way we can. We don't, Stacey was not comfortable she's comfortable anywhere she goes, but she didn't have her equipment. She didn't have the stuff she loves.
I didn't have my light. I didn't have my mic. I didn't have my camera, but that didn't stop me from doing videos. I still did videos for training. I still did coaching calls and stuff. So what I had to realize was, okay, well, during the day, this lighting was really good because I literally went back to exactly what I taught. Was, you don't need all of this expensive equipment to move forward. So I was able to, I got a few things from Amazon delivered, this cute little mic, and that was really inexpensive. So I went, okay, well, let's go back to, video 101, which is put yourself in front of a window, which I did. The camera was fine. It wasn't like this, but it was fine. And it didn't stop me from doing any of that stuff. Right. Yeah. So,
and you just have to make do. And I think the difference is, unless you've had to, it's really hard to, as Stacey said, understand who you are and how you work, right? So I was in, for 15 years, I traveled the world in my corporate job, and I never had a desk really. I had a home desk in New York, but I was never there. I think it was there 8 days out of an entire year. So I was most comfortable, and this is true, with my laptop on my bed in my hotel room.
Wow.
And I did conference calls that way. I never carried paper because it was heavy to carry files and papers. So even to this day, yesterday, one of my friends said, there's never any pens in your house. It's like, because I don't write anything. I use everything's on my laptop because
Right.
I never wanted to carry extra things. So to this day, I get tired sitting at my desk. And so honestly, around 4 o'clock, I grab my laptop and go sit on the couch and work on the couch because I'm used to being kind of in a comfy environment. I'm not really good at being at a desk all day. So you have to be aware of how you like to work and go that way. So I went from traveling, and then when my husband was sick and I was in the hospital for literally 6 weeks and not leaving, I was in a really uncomfortable chair with my laptop doing everything I could. So you adjust, but I think the moral of our story today is really to have you understand that if life happens, yes, you keep going, but you might have to tweak it, and do something that you might not exactly have planned, and use it again as an opportunity to say, okay, how can we benefit from this time shift and do something that maybe we didn't expect to have time to do in the past?
Yeah. And I think also the fact that I was a good planner and I had sort of all of those, I know I've talked ad nauseum about this stuff, I feel like anyway, but because I had all my systems in place and I was very organized and I had a plan, I was very easily able to transfer that stuff with my computer. So, I had my calendar and I, was ridiculously diligent about putting things in my calendar, but I also knew where and how I could do different things. And I was able to adjust easily and quickly, but I was also able to reassign my calendar stuff. Like, typically I was like really great in the morning. Like, this is my routine. I get up in the morning, I get ready, I come to my computer, I do my stuff. And typically my calls and everything were in the morning. Well, I had to shift that because my afternoons were my time that it was easier for me. I was, it was quiet. I could lock myself in a room for a couple of hours. So I had to shift, some of that stuff. And then depending on where we had to go when, it was, I actually have a couple hours in the morning. Well, today I have a couple hours in the evening. Sometimes that after supper time was the time that I got stuff done. So I think it just teaches you how to be flexible. It definitely didn't prevent, but it wasn't something that I could go, okay, well, I'm available at 10 o'clock every day. It wasn't that.
And we were first time we were in a little bit of a different time zone. Not a lot, but a little bit. So we kept getting confused. Oh, were we going to meet at 12 or at 1? What couple times on the clubhouses, we were like,
The time zone completely messed me up. I actually made that 1 hour, because what I had to do was every time, Faye, you would say, I'm available at 10, I had to convert in my brain 11 o'clock, and I would put that in my calendar. Well, funny, they had an appointment. I was putting in appointments for my kids for when I got home, and I was putting them in Halifax time.
Yeah.
So I actually showed up at an appointment and they went, "You're an hour early." I'm like, darn it, time zone.
Exactly.
But, there's an adjustment for sure. But life can happen. But I think the biggest thing is that it doesn't have to stop you from being productive. It doesn't have to stop you from accomplishing, because you challenge yourself to figure out what you can do where and the environment in which you can do it.
Yeah. And I think it's the theme of International Women's Day is sort of appropriate today, isn't it?
Yeah.
So does everyone know the theme?
Choose to challenge.
Yeah. So, I take it as, if life gets in your way, challenge yourself. What can you do differently to make it work for you? That's just a theme that you can do internally. On the external, in terms of choose to challenge, it's also a really great opportunity and time for you to commit to challenging yourself in the environment of what the world's going through right now, right?
Yeah,
So taking
exactly.
that into account and making sure that that's cognizant and top of the mind as well. So if you have an opportunity to sit back and go, okay, I'm going to do things a little differently now. Today is the day I'm going to challenge myself. Then this is a perfect opportunity. And it's not a forced challenge like we were just talking about. It's a choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also interesting to be able to challenge yourself a little bit more, just so that you understand who you are, how you work. So if something ever did happen, like I said, I had, what you need, what you
Right.
can accomplish, when, how, and if.
Yeah. I mean, and everything you can pretty much get on your phone now, right? Like, so there's no real excuse. You don't need to be carrying one of those big old, remember those salesman's cases that people used to carry in the old days with their big, huge think pads?
Oh my God, those are so big. Those are
So you don't have
awful.
to do that anymore. You actually have the opportunity to pare things down. And when you have less to carry, it's such a relief, right? Like when that's all you're doing. So it's an opportunity for you. But we did want to also talk to you. We told you we were doing things a little differently and thinking of ways. We really wanted to bring something exciting and some of the issues that we were having, and just we're always transparent, so we're going to put it out there. So the issues we have in terms of Facebook groups is they're getting really cumbersome, right? Hard to really navigate, to digest. We have so many people in our Mastermind City community that don't go to Facebook. They're not interested. They're not members, and have been asking us for several years now, what can they do to engage with us more? But they're not willing to go on Facebook. It's just not their thing. They like private, more exclusive communities. And so we need to we needed to take a step back and use that opportunity to say, okay, what can we do to really help address that concern, right?
Well, and you know what? It's true. And not everybody is on Facebook. And I face that. It was very interesting back when, probably about 5 years ago, I got a lot of pushback because I was doing a lot of LinkedIn training, and it's like, well, where can I find more? And it's like, oh, I have to go to a Facebook group. Like that didn't make any sense in their brains. I had, clients who were like, okay, well, like, where do you hang out? And I'm like, Facebook. And they're like, well, I'm not on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. That's the only platform on. Then I guess I can't join your community. And that's weird. Like it's a weird space that's our go-to. So we needed to find another solution, basically, because we even have members of GIA that are not on Facebook.
No, lots of members.
They're going through it. That's great. They're not on Facebook. So, and then the other challenge, of course, is the fact that we're not showing up in feed. So it's like, well, I didn't see this particular post because we posted in the group, and therefore it's going through the Facebook algorithm. And people are missing a lot of information.
People are missing lives and saying, oh, I really wanted to come to that. I wish I'd known about it. So
they can't find it. They don't know where to go.
That really our Mastermind City is growing, and we have so many more new things coming, and our dilemma was, how can we actually communicate to everyone and make sure everyone's getting the message other than just email? Like, where we needed to create an exclusive community for everyone to be able to go to, still free, still to come in, but then also have some paid elements if anyone wanted to do something simpler. Right. So that's what we've been working on. We've been working on it for a good month now, and we will be officially launching April 9th, I believe it is our first day. So
that is it.
So watch out for that. We're going to be back here live for a couple of weeks, but we're going to let you guys all know. But it's an exclusive private community, so you'll be able to get notifications. You'll be able to, you don't even have to worry, because you can just go into the community. You can see all the lives, all the trainings, all the events. You can meet everyone that's part of Mastermind City. You can list who you are, what your interests are, communicate with everyone else. So if you are, in a specific environment you can communicate with those same people. So we're really, really excited about it.
And it gives you so much ability to access, to follow different conversations about different topics.
Yeah.
There's a directory that we're excited about, because if you list your expertise, then people can find you, which is really cool, and all accessible on your phone.
Yeah, on your phone, on your desktop, wherever you want, whatever makes sense to you. So we're really working hard to make sure that you can have access regardless of where you're coming from. So you know, here are some of the pieces that you know we're not comfortable with. We love Clubhouse, but you have to have an iPhone. Well, then again, that's like
that's limiting.
It puts us back to the same dilemma of Facebook, right? Some people only want to access on their desktops. Great. So we want your experience to be equally as great, whether it's on your desktop or your phone, right? We want it to make it easy for you. We want you to, you know, talk to other people, enjoy what you're doing, learning, engage. And again, in Facebook, it's challenging because you get lost in all the comments, right? And
exactly.
I think the other piece too, and I'm just going to say my little part on it on Facebook is, and as you guys probably know, I'm not that active on Facebook as I used to be. And because I feel forced, I feel a little forced. And I don't, you know, everyone's like, you got to do this, you got to do that. I like to engage when I can engage, but I don't want it to feel like it's, I absolutely have to log in there 10 times a day, right? And so it's still really important. Don't get us wrong. We are all for online marketing, social media. We train on it. We teach it. It's crucially important. For a lot of you, you might have members that solely are on Facebook, and all your members are on there, and it's working great for you. And that's fantastic, because there's no different than if you have a LinkedIn group or you're on Instagram and that's where everyone hangs out. It's fine, but we wanted to find, you know, we surveyed our people and realized that they were everywhere. And
well, that's the challenge. We have, you know, there's the Facebook people, there's the LinkedIn people, there was the non-social media people, you know, Instagram people. So to force those people to, you know, migrate over to one social media platform was a challenge. And I think we all rely, I mean, I do, I'll be transparent. I rely on Facebook giving me that list of what's important to me. I rely on that algorithm to present me with the information that's the most updated from the people that I want to engage with, but it doesn't. So this is not a Facebook bashing session. I think Facebook is a fantastic social media platform.
Absolutely.
Again, all part of our training, online marketing, very important. Facebook is crucial to your online marketing because it does have the most people across any platform.
Incredibly important, especially if you're doing ads and etc. However, again, you know, Stacey said you need to know yourself. Well, you also need to know who your clients are and who your community is. And that's why we, you know, took a step back and realized that, you know, there was a good chunk of our community that we weren't addressing properly, and shame on us. You know, and we were defaulting to come to Facebook. And then, you know, some people don't even understand how to even get to a Facebook group, let alone.
Well, yeah. And that became a challenge too, is, you know, where in the group. Facebook is just such a big platform. You know, they were having, people are still having a hard time, you know, finding the training. Where are you? Are you in the event? Are you in the thing? Are you here? Are you there? It's like, you feel bad for the people that aren't used to using Facebook.
So I would challenge everyone watching today to really, you know, maybe take a little survey of your own clients in your own community and ask them, where are they, right? And you can't just ask them on Facebook. You have to put out a survey. If you have an email list, put out a survey. If they're on Instagram, put out a post. Find out where they are and then cross-reference. If people say, you know, maybe you do a poll and say, which social medias, you know, platforms do you use? If you see that they're very diverse, then your job as the person who is working with this community is to figure out how you can engage with them properly. So, so that's why, you know, as I said, we're really excited. We're going to give people opportunities to include them within their group, within our group. if that makes sense. So there's a lot of different things you can do, but I think it helps truly for you to understand who your client and your customer base is. And if you're just assuming, see, we knew, right? We knew, but we were kind of not, like, we were just saying, well, that's where we are, without really sitting down and thinking about what else we could do until life got in the way and gave us an opportunity to say, what can we do differently?
Well, I think sometimes you need that hiccup to kind of stop you, because you just get into mode, which sometimes is fantastic, where you go, okay, well, because when you're in mode, consistency happens, and that's fantastic. And we always preach about consistency and making sure that people know what to expect from you. Yeah. So you're in mode, and that's kind of where we were at. We were doing things, we were doing, Master at Mondays, and we're doing it on Facebook. So it never really occurred to us to look at anything else, because why would we? It was working.
Yeah.
But when the hiccup happens and you kind of stop in your tracks, and all of a sudden you go, okay, well, are we going to go back? Yeah. What does that look like? We're like, well, hang on. Is there another option out there? Like, what are we missing? Because I think that was the whole thing. It's like, oh, well, wait a minute. So we found this fantastic platform that we will announce in a few weeks.
Soon, yeah. We want to get things perfect for you guys, like in terms of, and not perfect in terms of everything has to be like, tick all the boxes. But I mean, we want to make sure that you have easy access. You can get to all the trainings. There's lively discussions ready to go. And so we're almost there. So as I said, our official opening night, we're going to have an open house on April the 9th. So you'll be getting all that information from us shortly. You'll see it everywhere, because we're going to post everywhere, every platform in the next couple of weeks. And again, it's just an opportunity. I mean, most of you know how to get us, regardless if you're watching us here on Facebook, but now we're going to reach out to people that really want to join us and haven't had the opportunity in the past.
Yeah, so. To be able to join something that's, again, no offense to Facebook. We love Facebook for its purpose, but we want to make sure that we give all the members an opportunity to connect, not just the ones that are only on Facebook.
Yeah. So. And think about how many new people you'll meet when you get on this platform as well, right? Because there'll be people that you probably never thought you would engage with. And all of a sudden, you'll have your links. So if they want to go engage with you on Facebook, they can. But you'll have an opportunity to really change things up. And that's what it's about, right? Like that's what I love about today, and the challenge. You got to change things up, and you have to say, okay, today I'm going to do something a little different. Today I'm going to say, all right, let me try. Here's the thing. Go back, as I said, go into your polls. Colin's putting a date.
Yeah, he's putting the date in his diary.
Excellent. So go back, do a poll, or talk to some of your customers. You might, let's say you're a coach and you're coaching somebody right now. You don't have a Facebook group. You might not even know where they hang out. So when you're on the call with them, just ask them, what do you choose? How do you find your events? How do you find live trainings? How do you go to free webinars? Like, what happens for you to get there? Is it, word of mouth? Is it a feed? How do you get there? Because that will teach you a lot about what you need to do to bring, new life and new blood into your business as well.
Yeah, so exactly. And I think that was the challenge that we faced, but the challenge that we accepted when, hiccups happen and life gets in the way. But I think in some cases, that's a good thing. So yeah, you choose to challenge yourself, choose to challenge your business, challenge the ways that you're doing things. Don't just assume if you've always, I think when I first started my corporate career, there was a mug that said, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. Right. And I do love that quote. And it was kind of cool. So again, that challenging the way you're doing things, is there ways that you could do it differently? Is there ways that you could service your clients better?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my challenge.
So do we have any questions at all? We're, today was just, we wanted to jump on. We wanted to tell you what was going on and what we were doing. We're going to be back, obviously, talking about specific topics like we will be doing in our new community as well. But we wanted to just reach out and make sure everyone else was okay and how your year was going. A lot of you, it's March now, and a lot of you went through our New Year's challenge and did really well and changed up your business and moved forward and got out of the funk. For those of you who didn't do a challenge or didn't do anything to restart your business, I think I would challenge you today to take a look. And if you're stuck and you're like, oh no, it's March and I haven't done what I wanted to do, it doesn't matter. Today's a new day and today's the day to start. If you need some help, feel free to go to Mastermind City. You can sign up for our challenge anytime throughout the year that you need it. But I think today's a great day to, if you have a few hours, to step back, just like we did, step back and say, what can I do differently to make my business better? Right?
Absolutely. And you know what? I think spring is coming here in Canada. I know in different parts of the world. I wasn't sure because I know a lot of people, when I mentioned Nova Scotia, that is a province in Canada. I did not leave the country. I just went to another province because I know a lot of people outside of Canada watch our lives and stuff. So I don't want to assume, even though we're in Canada, that not all of our viewers are in Canada, but it is spring here. And I know that kind of breathes new life as well, where you're like, oh, well, we can finally maybe get outside and see the world. I went for a walk yesterday. I haven't been for a walk in forever. And I was like, oh, outside.
Yeah, it's exciting when the snow melts.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's been here. And that's one thing that I will say about quarantine is that, again, so I have to stay in. So when you're in quarantine, you do have to stay inside. You're kind of allowed to peer outside. I kind of looked out the window every once in a while. I was like, oh, hello outside.
Exactly.
Hello there. But you learn, and I'm fascinated by systems. So I learned a lot about how to get things brought to me. You can order anything from anywhere, but there's still, it was interesting though, is that there was still businesses, and I faced a few that didn't accept credit cards over the phone.
Yeah.
So I remember I was like, oh, you don't. Okay. So that was interesting. So then it became a conversation. So again, it's communication. So how could I work with this person? How could I do business with them? How could they make it easier for me as a client? Right. Because they weren't willing, they didn't have the ability to take credit cards. So I was like, okay, but we had to do contactless, right? Yeah. Like I wasn't allowed. So what I did is I put cash. I ordered enough from them to make sure that I could, include a tip and taxes and I didn't even change. So we figured it out over the phone. So they were really good. And that's, I think, what comes with communication as well is how can we work together? Right. Even if my system isn't perfect and maybe, you don't have the ability. So I put cash in an envelope. I put it outside on the porch. Then I went back inside and then they were able to come. They confirmed it was their money. They took it. They left my item and then they left. So it was perfect to be able to do that. So I think for them, I challenged them a little bit because they, number one, I was transparent. I'm in quarantine. Yeah. They're like, okay, well, we don't have credit card. Okay. So how can we make this work?
Right.
And we made it work.
And I would push back a little bit and say, Stacey made it work, not them. And there's a big learning there on the other side. So hopefully they did a little bit of learning. But if the market shifts, if the market changes, you must change with it. You don't have a choice or you'll be out of business. So for every one Stacey, there was probably 100 clients that would never have done that.
Well, they wouldn't have been able to figure it out. They would have gone, okay, forget it. Now, I actually initially did say, okay, well, I don't know how I can do business with you. And I hung up the phone. And then when I texted my friend whose house I was staying at, I was like, here's my situation. Unfortunately, I can't do business with them. Any other recommendations to get this particular thing? And she's like, oh, well, so then because I didn't have cash with me.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, well, I couldn't do business because I don't really carry cash.
No, and I didn't have cash with me. I literally had landed there a couple of days ago. I can't go to the bank. I can't leave the house. So thankfully she had $20 like in her dresser drawer or whatever. So I was like, perfect. I called them back. I was like, okay, we could do business now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they made it, you're right. So again, with the times, and I did say to them, I just said, you know what, like, I'm really glad that I'm able to do business with you. However, you may be losing a lot of business because you don't have the ability to take a credit card over the phone.
Exactly.
Especially in today's world where there's a lot of, again, that contactless is now a thing and it's not going away.
No.
right? So the way that businesses are transforming from that perspective. So
That's
yeah,
great.
so it was very interesting.
Cool.
So life got in the way, but we did not stop working.
No, we've been here. I didn't kill Stacey, and I didn't bury her body. You can see her; she's live and in person. There was a whole thing going on about that.
But I'm still here.
But it was, I think the other lesson too for everyone is the fact that, when we start getting messages and people say, "Where are you?" means that, people are watching and they want to see you. And, I look back too, and sometimes I think, I follow certain people on Instagram, and when they don't post, I always go, I wonder what's up. Because I'm used to them posting all the time.
Right.
So, again, it's the same for you as well. So you have to kind of step back, regroup, take a look at what you're doing and say, what can I do differently? So on that, I'm very excited about next month. We have a whole bunch of new offerings to share with you guys that you are going to love, because it's going to be so much fun.
Exciting. Okay. Enjoy your Monday. Enjoy International Women's Day. Yeah. And remember to choose to challenge yourself.
Choose to challenge.
Bye.
Bye.